Yo, what is up everybody? Welcome back to another Gorilla Tag fan game tutorial. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you how to make and add a player model to your Gorilla Tag fan game. Please leave a like if you find this tutorial helpful. Share it with any of your friends or anyone who needs this tutorial for their Gorilla Tag fan game. Leave a comment on what tutorial you want to see next, and go ahead and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 1K, and we are currently 43 subscribers away. So if you could help me and become an OG, it would be very appreciated. But without further ado, let's get straight into this tutorial. So first you want to go ahead and install Blender. You can do this by going into your browser and searching up Blender download and then going to the official website, or you can probably get it on Steam. Next, you are going to want to come to New File and you want to click on General, and it will open this. Come over here, click on all of the objects, just Control Select, and then click on Delete. Not backspace, but your actual delete key, and there. Click on this Y button, and then scroll out so that you get in the right view. Now you're going to want to come over here and you want to click on Add, Mesh, Cube. And then down here where this little wrench is, you want to click on that, and you want to click on Add Modifier, Search, and then you want to search Subdivision Surface and click on that. Now, you want to change levels to 2, and make sure you are on Catmull Clark and not Simple. Then you want to click on this little drop-down arrow and click on Apply. Now, select your cube or sphere, and Control-C, Control-V, and then up here where it just says Cube, disable that one. And it shouldn't really change anything because it's the same cube. Now you're going to want to duplicate this again and zoom out, and then you want to click on G, Z, and then hold Control and just drag it up a little bit. And this is going to be our head. Now you can click on the Y button right here to make the grid pop up. It's very helpful. I would do that. Next, you want to come back to cube.001 and scale. So you want to click on S, Z, Control, and just scale it to however big you want the body to be. So I'm going to go like this big, and then I'm going to click on G, Control, and move it up. Maybe don't hold Control, because sometimes it will do that. So I'm not going to hold Control, but I'm just going to move it up a bit till it is on the head-ish. Now you want to come back to Cube 2 and just scale that down a little bit, and then click on G, Z, and move it down. And this is probably a little too small, so I'll resize it until it looks good. You want to come up here and click on Wireframe View and Transparent X-Ray, and then you want to make sure you're on Cube 1, and then click on Object Mode and click on Edit Mode. Then select Edge Select up here, and select these edges down here. Actually, scratch that. Make sure you're on Corner Select and select these 6 corners down here. Then you want to click on G, Z, and Control to move them up so you get a flatter bottom. And then click on S, Z, Control, and scale them down a little bit so that you just get the flatter monkey bottom instead of a big round circle. Now you want to come back up here and you want to click on this viewport display, and then come over here to Edit Mode and click on Object Mode. And now our guy is pretty wide, if you ask me, so I'm just going to scale X and just scale him down a little bit until he's about the width of the head. And then you want to come to this side and do scale Y, and then move him down till he looks good. Then come back to the Y-axis. Next, you want to click on Cube 1, click on Object Mode, Edit Mode, Face Select. You want to select everywhere where the belly fur will be. So I'll select this 4x4 grid right here. And then click on X, click E to extrude it, hold Control and move it out maybe 2 clicks, and then scale it and hold Control until he looks decently good. Then click Extrude again, or E, and then Control, and then move it back 1. Next, you want to click on the normal cube, Control C, Control V, and then you want to go back into the Y-axis. You want to click on G. Wait, you want to make sure you are in object mode, and then you want to click on G, and then Z, and then Control, and move it up till it's in between the head and the body. And then you want to click S, Control, and scale it down to a good arm thickness, so I would say about this big. And then do G, Z, move it down a little bit. And then G, X to move it over. And then scale X, scale it up to however long you want the first part of your arm to be. So I will go about this long. And then just move it to line up with your body. So I think that looks pretty good. And now you want to come back up to object mode and go to edit mode. Click on wireframe view up here and click on corners, vertex select. Then select these 6 up front, and then do G, X, move it over a bit, and then scale X and scale it a bit. Just make the arm look a bit rounder than it usually does. Then come back to the normal mode and object mode over here. Then Control C, Control V this. Go into, click on the Z axis button, and then click on R, hold Control, and then rotate it 180 degrees, and then click on this and make sure it says 180. Then do G, X, Control, and line it up right with this so that it looks good. And that is one of your 2 arms done. Now we are going to make the actual hands. So you're gonna want to come up here and you're gonna want to hide literally everything, and then come to the top down view and just zoom in a bit. Then you want to click on add mesh cube, and then click on edit mode, face select, and you want to select these 2 side faces along the red axis using the shift button. Then come back into top down view, click on right click and click on extrude faces along normals, and then extrude, and then hold Control and extrude it 2 squares. Then come to the front Y view, select these 3 squares, go back into the Z axis, scoot forward a bit, and then click on E, hold Control, move it 2, then click on E again, hold Control and move it 2 again. Come back to the front view and shift select these 2, then go back to top view, click E, hold Control and move it 2 squares, E, hold Control, move it 2 squares, and then E, hold control, move it 2 squares. And that is those 2 fingers done. And next we're gonna make the thumb, so you're gonna click on the X, click on this right here, click back on the Z, click E, move it 2, and then click on G, Y, control, and move it up 1. Then click on R and rotate it pretty good. And then click on this rotate button down here and do either -45 or 45. I'm gonna do -45. Next, do E again, hold control, and then do 2 squares again. Rotate it. And this time you want to do -30 degrees. And then click on G, hold control, and move it up a bit. And you just want to make some adjustments until it looks good. And then you want to hold S and scale it downwards a bit until it looks good. And with enough adjustments, you can get a hand. And now we can make it round, so you want to go back into object mode, click on add modifier, search, and subdivision surface, but don't apply it this time, just keep it the same. Then go back into edit mode and select these 3 edges right here, this edge, these 3 faces, and this face. And then go back to the Z axis and do scale X and scale it in. And then you want to grab this whole finger, so I will go ahead and do that. I'm gonna grab this whole finger, hold G, and then move it in until it looks like a good hand. That looks pretty good. To actually click on this face right here and do Y-axis and then do S, X, and scale it so that there's barely any room right there. And I'll scale it again because there should be little to no room here. Then select these 2 faces for the fingers, and I'll just select this one first, and you want to click on S and then hold control and do maybe 3 clicks, and then do the same thing with the other finger, so S, control, 1, 2, 3 clicks. And now the fingers come to more of a point and they're more connected, so it looks more like a hand and not a weird thingy. Now come back into object mode, do Control C and Control V, then do R and rotate it, Control 180 degrees, and just make sure it says 180 right here, or -180, both work. Then do G, X, and Control and move it over. Now you want to shift select both of the hands and then go back into edit mode and make sure you're on face select. And you want to select these 2 edges holding shift, and then these 2 edges holding control. And it should select the edge in the middle automatically, and then do the same thing with the other hand. So select these 2 with shift, and then select these 2 with control. And then you want to come into the Y-axis view, and you want to do G, Z, and just move it a small amount, not too much. I would say this much is probably fine. But as you can see, it makes a realistic hand curve. So it kind of makes a little bend. I might mess with this a bit more. It looks a bit more realistic now. And now we're going to add a little curve to the ends of the fingers. So just select everything along here by holding shift. And do that for both fingers. I'll cut to when that happens. And then go into Y-axis view, do G and Z, and then move it down a little bit. Then come to the X side, click on R, and then rotate it down until it looks pretty good. So I'd say that's good. And then do the same thing for the thumbs. So select the thumbs, do G, Z, move them down until they look good. Then come to the X side, and then do R, and rotate them. And now we have a pretty realistic looking monkey hand. But first there's actually one last thing. Select these 3 edges on the back of both hands. Go to top-down view. Click on E and just extrude them a little bit. Then select each one by itself and scale it inwards just a little bit. And the last thing is to select these 2. Go to Z, click on E, and extrude this little part out. This just basically makes it easier for rigging later. So yeah. So now you want to enable everything except for the original cube, and you will come to realize that your hands are just a little big for your player model. So you want to enter your object mode, make sure both of them are selected so the scale stays the same for each. Do scale down, hold control, and just scale it down to a good hand size. So I think this might be good for now. And go to the front of your player model, which you can tell because of the belly, and move your hands over there. And once you do a bit of messing around with it, you will get the hand to line up. Don't worry about the second hand right now, because we are going to do that. So select these 2 little arms, click on Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V, go to the Z-axis, do rotate 180 degrees, and then do G, X, move it over to line up pretty well. And then grab your second hand, go back to the Z-axis, actually go to your X-axis and do rotate like this, 180 degrees. And then go to your Z-axis and rotate that 180 degrees. And then do GX and line it up with your hand. And then do GZ and line it up even more. And now we are going to finish up by doing the face. So you want to zoom in on the face and select it and go into edit mode. Then select this 2x4 right here and do subdivide faces. Then select all of these and go to the X-axis, do right click, extrude faces along normals, and then use control and don't use control, but do a little bit inward so that you can tell where the face is. Probably not that much, so I'm gonna do G, Y, and move it like that. And that looks pretty good. And you're going to want to create the mouth. So just grab this little bit, go back to the X-axis. Oh, I'm zoomed in too far. But go back to the X-axis and then do G, Y, and just move it out a little bit to make a good mouth type shape. Next, you are going to want to go back into object mode and select each object and go to the subdivision surface and click on apply if they're not already applied. So I think I just have to do this for my hands. Yep. Then you want to shift select everything and do the body last so that it turns this brighter orange color than everything else. And if it doesn't, do shift click it and then shift click it again. And it should get highlighted in this like bright orange color. Then you want to click on Control J and it should all join into cube 1. So everything is now 1 and you can move it all at once. Now you want to scroll down over here and you want to click on Material and then go into edit mode on this and select, you don't have to select anything. Click on New and then Assign and it should make a Material 1. And then you want to click on plus and then select your body area where the darker fur is going to be. So this little 4x4 area down here. And then you want to go to this new material, click on assign and then new, and then click on assign again just to make sure it worked. Then select new material again. Select everything in your face this time. Then click on the new material, click assign, new, and assign. This will just help for Unity so you can assign the textures correctly and not have to worry about it all breaking down. Now, finally, we are going to rig our model and then put it into Unity. So in order to rig our model, you want to make sure you are on the Y-axis facing the front of your guy. And make sure you're in object mode. And then go to add. Click on armature. Go down to this little running person guy. Click on viewport display. And click on in front. Now you want to make sure you're selecting the armature and you want to go to edit mode. Click on this top ball right here. Click on GZ and scale it up until it reaches the neck area. Scratch that. You are going to fit to about this area right in between the arms. Then you want to do E again. Press X and move it to the edge of the arm. Then do E, X, and move it over here. And then E, X, and move it over here. Then you want to do the same thing for the other side, so click this ball right here, do E, move it over, do E, X, move it over, and then E, X, move it over one more time. Then you want to make the neck bone, so do E, Z, move it up, and then E, Z to make the head bone. And there you go. Now we are going to rig the hands, which is a tedious process. Okay, so you're going to want to come over to the hand bone joint, select it, do E, X, and move it over here, and then do E, and move it over to where the thumb starts, and then you want to do this 3 times, but you want to do E, and move it there-ish, E again, move it there, and then E one more time, and move it to the top of the bone. Next, you're going to want to extrude again, and come up to where the pointer finger starts, or middle finger, not pointer. And then do E, move it up, E, move it up, and E one more time, and move it up. And then do this for your last finger, so go to where it starts, and do E, move it up, E, move it up, E, move it up. And now your guy has bones in his hand. Just come over to your next hand now, and you want to do the exact same over here. So do E, X, move it over, and do E, move it over to where the thumb starts, E, move it up, E, move it up, and E, move it up. Then do middle finger, so go to where that starts, E, move it up, E, move it up, and E one more time, move it up. Then do this again, go to where the pinky starts, E, move it up, E, move it up, and E, move it up. Now click on the Z axis, click on these two little joints right here with Shift, then do E, move it forward, and make it go to about the square in front of it. Then select the two wrist joints using Shift and not Control. Then do E and move them backwards and make them not as long as the first ones, but make them pretty good. Okay, now you want to come to the first two ones and select the actual bone, not the ball, but the bone with Shift, and then do Alt-P, clear parent, and then come to these ones and do the same thing, do Alt-P, clear parent. Then you want to select these two front ones again, and you want to do G and move them forward about a square. Basically what these are, they make sure that your hand can only bend this way and not backwards, because it's not supposed to do that. Oh yeah, and by the way, make these two wrist bones right here. You want to move these just a little bit away from the skin so that it doesn't tug on it. You want to leave edit mode and go back into object mode, then click on your cube and then control click on your armature. No, shift click on your armature so that it gets the brighter orange color, and if it doesn't, just shift click it and then shift click again so it gets bright orange. Control P and do armature deform with automatic weights right here, and it should automatically go into armature. Now you can delete this invisible cube right here, and now when you click on armature and you click on pose mode, you should now be able to rotate your arm correctly, and you can rotate almost anything. You can rotate your head, even though it will follow the body in game, but you can rotate your head. You can do something very cursed. Do that. You can do a bit of that. A bit of this. And he just rotates. I'm gonna Control Z to put him back to how he was. And then go back into edit mode. And now we can finally do Control S. Name it player.blend, and then do save blender file, and it should save now. Now we can close out of Blender and open up Unity, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Then once you're in Unity, you want to right click on import new asset, and then select your player. So I just did player, and it is currently importing right now. Now you want to go to resources, Photon VR, player, then go back to your assets and make a new folder. So create folder, name it models, and then put in your player model.blend in there. And then you want to drag this in and place it under head. And then you want to size it down to the right size because it's probably going to be pretty big. So you want to move it down to line up with your Photon VR player right here. I already moved the player name, but yours will be up top. But you want to line it up with the Photon VR player right here. I'll shrink it down a bit more, so 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. Yes, that looks better. And you want to make sure that the bottom of your player model lines up with the bottom of the Photon player model. So you want to come over here and then just drag it up until right when you see the Photon player model, and then drag it down a bit more so that it lines up pretty well. And then you can drag it over to line up with the head, and then drag it down a bit more, and I'll probably scale it to 0.1 because that will look better. I resized it a bit more and I landed on 0.16, so the bottom lines up and the head lines up. And now you can line up your player name, so wherever it is, you just want to line it up. Oh, my player model is also rotated the wrong way, so I'm gonna fly over there and rotate it. Now you want to line up your player name, so I'm going to rotate it a bit and then line it up on the chest. That looks pretty good. And then come to where it says player name up here and just click on the script and click on the 3 dots and then click remove component. Then you want to select all of your Photon VR player model stuff, so VR hand, VR body, and VR head. And you want to come to mesh renderer and you just want to turn off the check mark so that the player model and the player name are the only things left. And now you can delete your VR hands and stuff, but it won't help in the future, so I wouldn't do that if I were you. Now you want to add your textures to your player model, so just go ahead and import your textures. I'll just import some random textures, so how about, so I have my fur texture imported, and then now you want to create material and name it fur, and then drag the fur texture to the albedo, and turn the smoothness down, and then drag this onto your player model, and set the tiling to whatever you want. So I'm just gonna go with 1515 for now. And I'm not going into advanced on how to fix like texture glitches. You can look up how to do that, but this tutorial is already going to be very long. Then just copy and paste this so you have fur 1 and change the albedo darker, but not too dark. And then drag this onto your stomach, and then drag your face texture onto your face, but I don't have a face texture, so I'm not going to do that. Now you want to import the script from the Google Drive link, and it is the fast IK script, so do import new asset, and then fast IK fabric, import. Then wait for your scripts to compile. While they're doing that, you want to open up your player, go to armature, then open up bone, open up bone 1, bone 2, and you want to go to bone 22, and then open up bone 4, 5, and 6, and go to bone 9. Then select both of these and add the fast IK fabric script. Set the chain length to 2. Set the iterations to 10 and the delta to 0.001. set the snapback strength to 1, and then select on bone 22. You want to do target is the left hand, and the pole is bone 35. Then come to bone 9 and set the pole to bone 36 and the target to right hand. And that is your player model done. So now we are going to test if it works. So click on this back arrow, click on play. If you get this warning, just click OK because it is fake. And then wait for your game to load. And once it loads, click on scene, and your player model should spawn in with its hands in the head. Then open up your Gorilla Rig, Gorilla Player, left-hand controller, and if you move this, your hand should follow your controller. And then if you rotate your controller, it follows that. And you can still jump and stuff. If your player model is in the floor, you want to go back into player and drag it up a bit. And that is all for today's tutorial. This is a pretty long tutorial, but I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye.